Hi guys, so today I thought that I would do another Q&A. It's just something a little bit different to do to break up all the vocal rankings. Obviously we will be doing that mainly as a focus, but I thought I'd change things up a little bit and do another Q&A today. Warning, there was a lot of questions, a lot of really good questions. I've tried to condense some of them down into my little notebook that I've got. Toy Story, very fun. But there's 4 pages of questions in here, so I'm going to try not to make this really insanely long. There are lots of other questions on the community post that I want to tackle, so I may do it in a second Q&A later down the line. But if your question hasn't been answered, bear with me. Also, there was a lot of questions asking kind of what my background was and things like that. A lot of those questions I addressed in my first Q&A. I'll link it in the description below. Just have a look at that one if your question wasn't addressed, if it's something along those lines. Anyway, without further ado, let's delve into the questions that I have answered in this video and do my Q&A. Let's go. Okay, so Watercow asked, who is the best singer in the world in your opinion? Obviously it's difficult to say with 7 billion people, but I'd still like to hear your opinion on it. Well, we're starting off with the heaviest topics. Obviously it's kind of a subjective thing. A lot of people have different things that they like from singers, but to me, from a technical aspect, there are 2 that stand out. They're kind of well talked about in the vocal world, so this might not come as a huge surprise to you. Male, Dimash Kudaibergenov, or however his last name is actually pronounced. That guy has an almost limitless voice. Everything good I say about every first place person in all of these rankings can be attributed to his voice and then some. He has the vocal capabilities and the dynamic potential which is higher than anyone else I've really heard. His mix is insane, his head voice is borderline unbelievable, and he has operatic and contemporary feels to his sound. So to me, Dimash is an absolute all-rounder that I will do a vocal kind of analysis video on at some point because he is absolutely out of this world. And if you don't know who he is, just check him out. And if you do, you know exactly what we're talking about. The guy is a freak. Okay, female. I'm, again, not as well versed with female voices as I am with male voices, but to me, a clear kind of leader is Sohyang. I mention her quite a lot, and yes, she is obviously a Korean solo singer, and that's just not a Korean bias that I have. Her technique is absolutely ethereal. It's amazing. She can mix into areas that people shouldn't be able to get into with a head voice. She can do things with her tone lighter or heavier, and it sounds so blended and seamless all the way through. Her voice is angelic, it's amazing, and again I will do an analysis video on her because I'd love to talk about what makes her so particularly frighteningly good. But yes, in my opinion, that is the best male and female singer that I have personally heard. There will be many thousands of people I haven't heard, and many people who are young who are just as good or getting there. So in years to come the answer may well change, but for now those are my top 2. Okay, so Lost in a Dream has asked many good questions which we'll go through one at a time. First one, are there any rankings you would change out of the ones you've made so far? Generally, I'm pretty confident and comfortable with the ones that I've done. I've watched them all back a few times to make sure that my opinions aren't totally crap. And the majority of them I'm happy with. The odd person now and again may flip-flop depending on the songs that come out. There is one vocal ranking, however, that I am pretty confident I may have got wrong, and that is Day 6. I initially, when I heard them, and for the first little while, thought that Sungjin was the better vocalist. The more I listen, I'm kind of more convinced that Young K might be better. It's close, so they do flip-flop, but that is the only one I've made so far that's made me kind of go, you might not have been right there, Sam. There's a few that are subjective and interchangeable, but I'm fairly confident and happy with most of them, except for a few places. Could change here and there, but nothing glaring. But Day 6, I think I might have got wrong, but it's not like super wrong to the point where it's absolute crap. But you can take that with a little pinch of salt, I'd say. And if you were a K-pop idol, what would your position be and what type of group would you want to be in? Alright, I would want to be main vocalist. Not because I think I'm awesome or anything, because main vocalists more often than not tend to get the bridge part or the chorus part of the song and are in charge of kind of the high notes and the big extension belts. That's what my voice does quite well. I'm quite good going like, ha! And like really high and doing stuff in that sort of area, which is where a lot of K-pop songs have the crescendo written into in terms of the bridge and the chorus, so I'd be quite comfortable doing things like that. Having said that, I wouldn't want to be a lead vocalist because they tend to get the verses and a lot of the kind of other parts of the songs, which are in a part of my voice that isn't so good, kind of in this slightly high key but not super high, because I'm a baritone and my voice doesn't really work in the middle as well as I would like in terms of a tenor comfortable kind of key. So I wouldn't want to be a lead vocalist. And I'd happily do a sub-vocalist role because a lot of the time the baritones and the lower voiced guys kind of do the da-da-da-da, that sort of key, like in that sort of area, which I'll be comfortable doing. So I'd want to be either main for the high notes and kind of some of the other hard bridge parts, but not like all the verses and stuff, or sub-vocals to do kind of lower things. I think I would be quite a bad lead vocalist because I wouldn't work in the areas that they work in a lot of the time. And obviously visual as well. I'm joking, I'm hideous. Okay, have you ever thought about becoming a vocal coach? Back in the day, my absolute dream was to be a vocal coach. 2 things have kind of stopped me since. Firstly, life. It kind of got in the way. I never kind of did vocals at college or kind of at university, as I mentioned before. So I never really got deep into that world to a point where that was really an option for me. I kind of got stuck in a job that I'm in now that I'll address later, and kind of doing this as a hobby rather than kind of a career. It would be amazing to still do, but I think my time may have passed. I really need to get more education in it to be able to teach properly, and I think that may not be in my future. It would be amazing if it ever happened, but I don't think so. And secondly, I can't teach. I can describe things and explain things and analyse pretty well, I'd like to say. I am horrendous at explaining how to do things to people properly. If someone came into me and went, I can't sing, I'm like, okay, I can tell you how to sing, but actually implementing it in your style, I would struggle with. I don't know how to teach. I've never been taught how to teach. Would I pick it up? Maybe. But I wouldn't be comfortable enough to embark on a career where I don't think I'd be that useful to people. If people kind of gauge things from things that I do and demonstrations I do, awesome. In terms of making sure someone's technique was flawless, I'd be less comfortable in. Okay. Who are your biases or groups you stan? I only really kind of stan properly 4 groups. There was 5, but I kind of don't listen to GOT7, which is I used to. EXO. My bias is Dio. He was the first voice that ever captivated me in K-pop, and I was like, wow, this guy is amazing. And that's basically what my love for K-pop started, and I got to just kind of delve from there. He started it all. Dio was the first voice that started it all for me. I will always love him, and him being moody at EXO is an absolute mood, and I love those edits where he's just kind of going, I feel like in my soul. So yeah, Dio, amazing. Stray Kids, my bias is Hyunjin. It was formerly Changbin, but Hyunjin just won me over with his charm and his rap and his dance and his facials, and everything he does just captivates me. I love that man to pieces. BTS, my bias is V. Always was, always has been. I was just kind of drawn in by his charisma and his kind of persona and the baritone vocals that were totally different from everything else in the group, and made me just fall in love with the guy, and that love has not wavered. And then 17, who are my ult group, if people don't know that. I kind of struggle because they're all hilarious, but the main 3 I love are DK, Seungkwan, and Hoshi, the LOL trio, or whatever they're known as. But I'd say Seungkwan is probably my favourite because he's just so funny, and he's a really good singer, which helps, but he's absolutely hilarious. But that kind of ties in with the next question. If you do have biases, do you mainly pick them because of their vocals? Not necessarily. The vocals are kind of the first thing that often draw me in, but K-pop as a spectacle is much more than just singing. There's choreography, there's personalities, there's reality shows, there's all sorts of things that can really affect who you love. And that's kind of why bias and bias regs exist, and not always the most talented people are biases. A lot of the time the people who are just visuals are biases, because people like what they like. To me, the vocals kind of stand out to me initially, yes, but as I grow to learn and love people, their personalities kind of take over, and everything that offers a full package takes over. So a lot of my biases are vocalists, but a lot of them aren't. In terms of other groups, not that I stan, but that I casually like, I still have biases, kind of. And not a lot of them are actually vocalists, so no. Initial drawing in, yes, but in terms of the overall package, probably not. Okay, so Sarah D asked, who is the best vocalist among ones ranked last in their respective group, male and female? Okay, so for male, I was looking back through my rankings and thinking, yes, possibly no, yes. The ones that stood out to me were 2 people. Wow from Ace. He's a pretty good vocalist. There's still a ways to go, but he hasn't got huge glaring issues like a lot of them kind of sort of do. He's pretty decent. Or Minho from SHINee. Again, he has a good voice, just doesn't really work in the key that they're singing. I think vocally his technique is pretty solid, but again falls back a little bit into nasality, just like Wow's does. Most other people kind of have more glaring technical issues or kind of more things they could work on, but of the 2 male ones, I think probably Wow from Ace and Minho from SHINee have the most developed ones of every last place person so far. And female, I haven't done that many female groups, so there's not that many to go from. A clear standout was Moonbyul from Mamamoo. She again kind of sings in a key that doesn't really suit the style as well, and has the odd little things she could work on, but she's got a pretty decent singing voice, and most of the last place female ones have quite a lot more to work on, I would say. So yeah, I would say SHINee's Minho, Wow from Ace, and then Moonbyul from Mamamoo are probably the ones that are the best that I've heard so far. As we keep doing more of these, that could easily change, but from the ones I've done right now, I'd say that's a pretty fair pick. Okay, a slightly more personal one here. Lena T asked, I don't know if this is too personal, Nothing's too personal. I'm quite an open book. Just ask me whatever you want if we ever do these again to ask. But I wanted to know where you were from because I really love your accent. Firstly, thank you. Most people don't love the accent of the place that I'm from. I'm deliberately kind of neutralising it a little bit, because if I let it come out full flowing with a dialect, you'd all be like, what the hell is he saying? It's such a terrible accent. I'm from a place called Middlesbrough in the northeast of England. Some people think I'm Scottish. No, Scottish is like that. It's totally different. Whereas kind of Northern English is this. It's slightly south from Newcastle, which is a place you might have heard, which is a lot different. We're not renowned for our lovely accent. It's kind of a scutty accent. It's kind of quite abrasive a lot of the time. It's very surprising that people, I know a lot of you guys are from North America or from Asia, that you like my accent. I'm happy that you do. It's interesting that you do, because most people hate where I'm from's accent because it's a bit gross. So that's why I kind of neutralise it a little bit. But yeah, I'm from the northeast of England. For anyone that was curious, nowhere near London, if that's the only place you've heard of, literally nowhere near. So yeah, that's where I'm from, Middlesbrough. Look it up, it's fine. It's a fine place. Alexandra Anseno asked, I'm so sorry I butchered your name, I'm really bad at pronunciation, apparently, asked, of the 4th gen idols, who has the most developed vocals so far? Now, I'm not an expert on when the kind of gaps are between 3rd gen, 4th gen, 2nd gen, 3rd gen, all of that. I'm not going to pretend that I am, so I don't know entirely who encompasses the 4th generation and who's actually in the 4th generation, and obviously I haven't actually done that many rankings or listened to that many 4th gen groups. As of right now, a clear standout is Jungho from ATEEZ. His voice is really quite special at the moment, with places to go into, as I mentioned in the vocal ranking analysis of his voice. It has a ways to go to be as amazing as it will be, but right now it's pretty top tier. As we do more of these, there may well be people that surpass him that I don't know much about as of right now. And the 4th gen I've noticed is kind of more dance focused and performance focused than anything else, as opposed to 2nd and 3rd gen groups to a point. So it's impressive that somebody like him has vocals that he does in a kind of generation that doesn't seem as focused on it. But yeah, to me, Jungho from ATEEZ is the standout, but we will see as we go on. Riri Zhang, again I apologise if I pronounced your name wrong, Asian pronunciations I need to learn, so sorry, asked, would you ever consider doing an overall ranking, say top 10 vocalists in K-pop, that sort of thing, can start fan wars? Yeah, but it would be cool because of how much class you have while making these. Thank you for that, that was very kind. I do like to try and come across kind of nice and respectful and fair, because they do a lot of practice and a lot of hours to entertain us, so I appreciate them fully. I'm torn, I keep saying I will, but as you correctly say, it can start fan wars. K-pop fans can sometimes be very nice and very good at marketing their group, but they have a habit of, if someone disagrees with what they think, to kind of jump at them. That is the minority massively, but it can happen. I am a little bit scared, with a bit of trepidation, to upload a kind of top 10 vocalist or whatever from different groups, because people will come at me, and I'm not mentally prepared for that. I'm a soft boy. I can't deal with that. Nasty comments now make me emotionally unstable, so I don't know. I want to, because I think that channel could easily go there and start ranking different people from different groups, because yes, internalizing rankings is good and it shows how groups are vocally, but it doesn't really showcase how groups are vocally compared to each other. So I want to. I may put out a poll at some point, because a lot of you agree that it's a bit risky because we don't want to start fights in the comments, but it's also something a lot of you do want. So I would like to. I'm hesitant to, and I don't know is the honest truth, because it will be a good idea, but it's also a little bit scary, and I need to kind of psych myself up for that, because as I say, I am a bit of a flake and can't handle criticism very well. So maybe is the answer. We will address that later down the line, because I know a lot of you do want it, but I'm a scaredy girl. Puku Puku Punch Punch, amazing username, fabulous, asked, who is your favourite rapper singer, or a rapper that can sing well? Now, if I kind of went from a vocal standpoint, probably Jew Honey from Monsta X, possibly. But in terms of their overall kind of idol that they are, Han Ji-sung from Stray Kids, definitely. He's a rapper that sings very well, and his singing voice is great, and I love it. But his rapping is really, really top tier. I think Jew Honey's is amazing as well, but for some reason, Stray Kids were the first kind of rap-heavy group that I listened to, and he was one of the main standouts along with Changbin that made me kind of go, yes, K-pop rap is great, I don't need to understand what they're saying to be like, yes, these are fire, this is bars, unbelievable. So I'd say just from the nostalgia of kind of discovering Stray Kids really early, and Han's very good singing voice and exceptional rapping style really drew me in. So I would say he's probably my favourite idol that is a rapper that can sing well, probably. I hope that answers the question that you wanted me to answer. If you wanted me to talk about who's the best singer out of rappers, like Jew, Honey, Han, and Rocky all have a kind of argument. I'd have to think about it more, but Han's my favourite, I would say. Americano Joa, I hope I pronounced that right, said, I get sad that whenever you mention finishing the Idol Ranking series, do you have any plans to what you will do after? Firstly, I have no plans to end the Idol Ranking series. Did I say that? If I did, ignore that person. He was an idiot. As long as there are groups to rank, and as long as you guys want me to rank groups, as long as I have the time and life isn't jumping on top of me, I will rank idol vocals because it's fun. And I get to listen to more music, and it's fun. It's fun. That's what matters most. I have fun doing these. I hope that comes across. So I have absolutely no plans to end it whatsoever, unless of course a video gets like 1 million dislikes and I want to cry myself to sleep every night, and I might consider it. But yeah, hopefully unless that happens, probably not. Plans of what I'll do after or alongside. I have a few different ideas of things I kind of want to do. I want to do a few more getting to know me sort of videos as I kind of get bigger and more people, I guess, care. Because I know you're here for the idol ranking, you're not here for me. I'm just the narrator who speaks. Some people like me, but most of the time you kind of like my opinions more than me, I suppose. So we'll see if people want that later down the line. I also want to start analysing soloists and things like that and kind of delve into what makes their vocals good. I'm just working out the fine details of those videos to help make them compelling, interesting, who to do, yada 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 yada. But that is something I'm planning when I can. And also, I'm moving house very shortly once my country stops, not doing anything because of this awful virus. And once we do that, a friend of mine who also does YouTube has a mic. If the mic picks up audio very well, I might do some covers for you. A lot of you addressed, can we hear you sing? You sound really good from the snippets that you've sang so far. Can you sing more? Can you cover for me? Maybe. I don't have very good audio quality. I'm not going to sing on my phone because it'll just sound rubbish. If I can use a mic and I get some good things and I learn songs and do that sort of thing, I will do that. I'm really bad at learning lyrics and I'm not like the most comfortable all the time. I'm kind of inconsistent sometimes. But if you want to hear me sing more, if I get the audio ability to do that, I would like to do that. Because a lot of you guys would like to kind of hear it, I suppose. So yeah, my plans are stick with the Idol series, absolutely. That's going nowhere. You'll be happy to know, hopefully. Analyse some soloists later down the line, and then maybe do some videos about me, and then some covers should you guys be remotely interested in that sort of thing. Okay, so Vanessa, I'd like to say, asked, were there any groups that, when you ranked them, that they shocked you at how talented they were, and if so, what groups? Mainly no, because I understand that these guys are scouted, do auditions, train incredibly hard and on a work ethic and skill that would destroy my entire skeletal system. So I understand that these guys work and train to a level where they're going to be talented. There's no way they can't be talented unless they're trained very badly and marketed very well. So generally I'm not shocked often by how good people are, and vocal coaches are really good at their job. So most of the time people have a good singing voice because they're trained well. There was one group that I went in thinking they'd be good, and they were excellent, which was Mamamoo. I went in being told they were good singers, but they were from RBW, I think it was, and I was like, I don't know who that is. And I went in and I came out thinking they were an SM group because of their proficient live vocals, how everything sounded, their blending all the way through, the way they were chosen. I thought Mamamoo were absolutely exceptional, and I've mentioned that a couple of times on the channel. I thought they were insanely good, and I love them. But generally, for most people, I understand that they're going to be really good, and some of the groups that are less good, they're less good because, well, I suppose they have different focuses, and the ones that are really good, like SM, I expect them to be really good, so they don't shock me, and the whole system doesn't shock me, because obviously I expect them to be talented, because they put in stupid amounts of work to entertain us, and to really hone their craft, which I fully appreciate. Mamamoo only shocked me a little bit because I sat down for the first video and went, wow! And I don't do that a lot. I have really high standards with singing because of people like Sohyang and Damash. So I don't really get shocked often, but Mamamoo was a nice surprise. The more personal one, Dream E asked, everyone asking real deep questions. Thank you for that, that's very good. I just want to know what sign you are. I'm getting some air vibes. No, I'm a Gemini. My birthday's tomorrow. Yay! I'm turning 24, for those who are curious how old I am. I'm currently 23, 24 on the 9th of June. So yeah, I'm a Gemini, which explains a lot about me, because if you knew me in real life, I'm a really moody guy. I'm either like this, or I just don't speak. So yeah, I'm very kind of 50-50. There's not a lot of in between. So yeah, I don't really know what the hallmarks of an Aries are, but I don't think I have that. I'm a Gemini through and through. June baby. Hi June babies, I'm one of you. Okay, so this is a fun one. Massimo Milone asked, what's your vocal range, chest, mix, and head voice? Now, I don't have anything like perfect pitch. All I can rely on is these apps on my phone that I occasionally sing into, DeTuner Lite and Vocalist Lite and all of this, and they seem to be somewhere close, so that's all I'm gauging this on. Now, I have two answers. I have kind of my range that I've phonated before at its uppermost extreme on my best day, and my lowermost extreme on my best day, and then my kind of usable vocal range that I'm kind of comfortable with most of the time. So in terms of that, I've phonated down in my mega vocal fry, I've got to like a A1 or a G1, like in this kind of place. But I wouldn't do that in a song because it's like not very easy. And then in chest, my voice is kind of hoarse and groggy, D2-ish. But when it's kind of neutral and normal, I wouldn't really sing much lower than an F2 most of the time. That's where I'd be comfortable bottoming out at, like always. But E2 on my best day, probably. My chest range is a baritone if I'm staying fully connected, not mixing at all. We'll get to about an F4 before it wants to just die. That's on my best day. On my worst day, some days I can push it a bit higher, but I wouldn't really want to. So in terms of modal voice, F2 to F4. When we start bringing head voice in and mixing, that's when things get a bit interesting. On my best day, on most days, I'm quite comfortable up at like Monster by EXO, like at the crazy kind of like area. I'm quite comfortable doing that on my best day. So that's around an F5 maybe, if I'm staying like a really heady dominant mix. Occasionally it'll go to around the G sharp, or like I'll do a master player's head voice into about an A5, and that's kind of where that'll top out at, and I'm really comfortable in that sort of area. But on my worst day, I'll always have like a C5 or a D5 in like a head dominant mix. In terms of a chest dominant mix, I'm still working on that, but like maybe like a B4, C5, but that's like not a part of my voice that I use a whole lot as of right now. And then head voice, like, kind of that sort of area. My voice today isn't really warmed up, so that wasn't a very good example. I haven't really been doing a lot of that today. On my best day, I have once hit a C sharp 6, but I wouldn't want to sing a lot higher than around the B flat in a head voice. I wouldn't trust it above that. And then I've once used flageolet whistle tones up to a C7, but then again it was on a random day where I squeaked high and it just got really high. I wouldn't use that register at all in singing. So I suppose that I've phonated in my life, like an A1 to a C7, kind of, that I would use in a song should I ever become a recording artist, F2 to B flat 5, probably. But how good I am depends on the warm-ups and the practice and all this, and this. Gabby Romero, hello Gabby, you've been a long time supporter. Thank you so much for always interacting so much with these videos and asking so many good questions. This one is a doozy. Right, okay, so you said, interesting one for you, hell yeah. One of the key characteristics of K-pop is a choreography. I can't say that word very well, I'm very phlegmy accent. There are people that say that you should tone down the choreography to deliver better live vocals. Others say that it's just as important and idols should keep working hard. What do you think? Now, to me, K-pop is a spectacle. That's what it is. It does so many different things that most genres of music just don't do, incorporating the choreography and the dancing ability and the rapping and the singing. All of that is very well. I think that what they should kind of do is highlight who can do what and kind of work out where to go from there. So some certain groups have amazing choreography where they kind of put certain hard lines in, yes, and often lip sync it live because they want to kind of focus more on the dance and the performance. And I don't have a huge problem with that as long as they've showcased elsewhere that they can do it. So I think if you've got a really well-renowned, very good vocalist, for example, that they should have solo stages and they can really showcase their vocals in that way and then perform as part of the group to really highlight the choreography of that particular dance. Because to me, as a K-pop fan, a lot of what I enjoy is the performance and is the dance, and it makes me really amazed whenever they do something particularly impressive and particularly hard. And then when they do choreography to that level, do I need raw live vocals? No, it's nice and it's good, but I would much rather they focused on the performance if that's what they're going for, and then deliver the live vocals in other settings like live stages or acoustics or covers and things like that. I do understand the reason that people think that you shouldn't put something in a song that you can't do live, but as I addressed before, if you're singing and dancing, you're not going to have top tier live vocals because you're tired, other muscles engage, it's really hard. So to me, if you want a performance that focuses on the dance, do the dance and do it to the best of your ability. And if you have members that can use really good vocals, like DK from 17 is a great example, he will always sing it live because he's got really good stamina, then do that. Let those guys focus and let those guys shine. But the other guys who you haven't given a vocal tag to, who kind of just do lines here and there and are more performers, let them just perform. The backing track isn't an enemy. It can be used to really highlight and accentuate a performance rather than taking much away from it. And as I say, in time, if they kind of stood still with a microphone, then there's no excuse. I don't like it when they lip sync there. But if someone's focused on the choreography and that's the main thing you're trying to kind of advertise for your particular group, sure. Live vocals are nice sometimes, but they're not a necessity. Yes, people should try and train as hard as they can to make the live vocals really stable, but if you're doing a really, really vigorous dance routine, your live vocals are going to be at maximum a 6 out of 10, because there's only so much you can do. So if things are really hard, lip sync them or just focus on the dance. As I always said last time, Chen from Mama, amazing vocalist, has a 10 out of 10 on his day, cracked big time, because he was dancing and tired. So yeah, I think that K-pop as a whole, choreography is a massive part of it, and a lot of why we like it is because of the dance routines and the spectacle of it. Should it be kind of focused on more than singing ability? I don't know. It's a bit of a balance. I think people that can sing should sing, and particularly in showcase them in like stage where they stand still and really showcase their voice. Another time they should just kind of dance, let the backtrack help them out and just deliver a really amazing performance. A nice balance of the two is always good, but not everybody can do that. So it's an interesting topic and I'd like to delve into it more in future possibly. But to me, if you can showcase the vocals, do so, and you have the ability to do it, then let the people do it. But more often than not, if the choreography is your main focus, just let that shine and then kind of do vocals elsewhere. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay, so a few more. Natalie asked, have you got into any groups because of the rankings that you did on them? More often than not, kind of what tends to happen is when I listen and do research for the groups and I kind of hear lots of their songs, things get added to my playlist and I kind of just listen to that song a lot of the time. I sometimes delve a bit further into their discography, but I wouldn't say I get into them, I'd say I enjoy those songs. Sometimes it can lead to more and I watch kind of edits of them and videos and I really enjoy them, that's all great. Having said that, the only real times I've got into a group because of the ranking was Dreamcatcher and Mamamoo. A lot of the people that I did, I liked and enjoyed some of their songs of, but I didn't listen to too many or really delve with the style that much because a lot of the discography wasn't necessarily for me. Maybe some of the title tracks were, for example. But Dreamcatcher, I went in not knowing them and came out loving a rock-heavy, very interesting stylized concept kind of anime sounding group, and I was like, hell yes, this is my sort of thing. And Mamamoo just blew me away with their talent and I was like, oh my god, these are absolutely insane and incredible. And I kind of listened to more of the discography because of that. ATs as well, fun story for you may not know this. A long time before I did the vocal ranking series, me and my sister were sitting down one day. This is early on in our K-pop kind of love. We hadn't heard too much and we only knew the style that we knew. We tried to listen to ATs and the first song we chose was Pirate King and we both went, not for us. Mingy's rap style turned us both off big time. And later, as we went on down the line, after we did NCT and 127, that was a really big turning point actually. We kind of heard lots of experimental styles and things we hadn't heard before, and that kind of opened our ears to these different things. And then when we went to do the 80s vocal ranking, we really liked them on second listen. Like, it went from being like, not for us, to whoa, this is really good. And now I love 80s. So they're another one that actually, because of the ranking series, I became a really big fan of, and I now really like 80s. I watch all of their videos, or a lot of the videos. I watch some of their compilations and some of the edits and stuff, and I think they're a really fun, amazing group with great energy. So yeah, actually I should have addressed that right at the beginning. 80s went from being an absolute not happening, no chance, don't like them, to I am a big fan. So yeah, this ranking series has helped a lot with that, because if I was never requested 80s, I would never went back to them, because I was sure I didn't like them. And oh, I do! They're very good. Your second question was, which group are the hardest and easiest to rank and why? Easiest, EXO. I knew the order going in because I've been a fan for a very, very, very long time, and I knew how to explain it. I knew exactly how to kind of mention it. Recently, a lot of the ones I've done have been quite easy because I'm getting better at doing this. I'm hearing things better, I'm understanding things better, and I kind of know how to kind of mention it more. I found Infinite quite easy to rank because their singers all worked in a particular stylized way with particular placements and things, and I knew kind of what made them really good, what made them kind of less good. So all the kind of ones after my first Q&A, I felt I was a lot better at doing, so ranking them were quite easy. Some that were quite difficult to rank were ATs, because other than Jungho, no one had a position, so I wasn't sure what I was meant to expect, so I had to really delve in and listen, so they were quite interesting to do. And by far the hardest, I've mentioned this before, were Twice. I just couldn't hear it. I just could for a long time. My sister got really angry at me for not actually mentioning this before. She had to basically single-handedly help me with Twice, because she knew them and she knew their faces and their voices, and I just couldn't do it. I was listening and watching and I couldn't differentiate anything. They took ages to get down, but I got it eventually. I'm pretty happy with the list. Some people disagree with Sana and Daehyun and all that great stuff, but my list I think is pretty solid. But I just couldn't do it for a long time. I just couldn't work them out. And then the other ones that were hard to do were Pentagon, but that was because of technical limitations of my computer not working and having to screen grab things rather than YouTube convert them because the internet decided to just not work that day. But in terms of the actual order, that was pretty easy as well. So yeah, easiest kind of everything recently. Infant and EXO were pretty easy, and some others may spring to mind after I've done this. Ace were easy as well, I'd say. And then the hardest were Twice, by far. Okay, so last couple. Nina asked a few different questions. What is your daytime job if you want to share? Yeah, I'll share. I work at a bowling alley. There's a kind of regional company called Hollywood Bowl. I work for them. It's fine. It's pretty fun. I serve people at lanes. I basically go down and go, hello, I'm Sam. If you want anything, give me a shout. And if you want drinks or food, press that little button. And they do. And we talk and I wait for them. So that's my day job. I'm essentially a lanes waiter at a bowling alley. It's about as fun as it sounds. And it's perfectly fine. And it does everything it needs to do. It pays my bills. And I've met very good friends through there who I will remember forever. So that's good. Where would you place yourself when it comes to singing ability? I think I'm pretty good. I'm kind of weird. I can do things that a lot of people can't do, like really hard stuff. But with easier things, I'm not as good always. I'm a little bit inconsistent. I understand the way the voice works better than implementing it myself. So what I mean by that is I understand the technicalities, I understand pediology, I understand how to explain it and analyse. But doing it myself, some days it's awesome and I do really well. Some days I'm not as good, but that's kind of because I don't really vocal warm up a lot because I just kind of sing at home casually. I don't feel the need to wake up and go or whatever, or go I don't feel the need to kind of do that. If I was ever trying to really pursue it as a career or anything, then I would, and hopefully my consistency would go up. But I think I can do kind of high stuff fairly well, and I've got a really good upper extension, and my range is solid, and my technique is alright. I understand it, I just don't always implement it the best way I possibly can because I don't really need to. And that leads to some bad habits that I can iron out by practice. So yeah, I think I'm alright. I'm a pretty humble person. I don't think I'm like fantastic or anything. I think I'm like a 7 out of 10 maybe. I'm good. I can do things that a lot of other people couldn't necessarily do. I just don't think I'm like the best or anything. I'm alright. I'm pretty good, and I'm kind of happy with how I sound. And hopefully one day you guys will get to hear it more if I ever get a microphone that isn't my phone. Last question, I've already addressed it. Where's your accent from? Middlesbrough, England. Lovely place. Knowledge to say on that. Okay, so last question. Cassandra John Baptiste asked, where do you see the channel in a few years? Where do you want the channel? What do you want the channel to become? I have no idea. When I started doing this, I just made a few videos on groups that I like to see what happened. And at the start of the isolation period, I had like, I don't know, 200 subscribers or something. I now have over 7,000 and it's growing every day. And I don't know what's going on. You guys are amazing. You just basically requested people, got my name out there, I suppose, and now people see me as some sort of, not authority, that's a much too big-headed word, but people that like what I say and want my opinion on people they enjoy. So what do I want it to become? I don't know. Maybe just this staying as it is, getting a bit bigger, more people seeing it, and kind of being able to do this more and kind of add more things to it and more series and a more well-rounded channel rather than just one little thing. I don't know what it's going to become. I don't know what the hell's happened. It's kind of taken off. Isolation probably a big part of that because everyone was kind of at home and no one had anything to do. So I was just a random little channel that people found, and that's cool and that's amazing. I really don't know what to expect. I don't know how the growth will continue, whether I've hit my peak now and I'll stop at about 10,000 subscribers, and if so, that's fine, or whether it's going to go higher, or whether it'll go down. I don't know what's going to happen. This has really taken me by surprise, and the fact that I'm in this room recording Q&A for people who actually kind of half care about what I have to say about myself blows my mind. I never thought that would be a thing. One of my dreams was to make a Q&A genuinely live for people to actually care about, and I'm on my second one now, so it makes me emotional just thinking about it because I don't know where this came from, what is happening, or where it's going. But either way, I hope you guys stick along for the ride, and we will see where we end up in a little while. But thank you so much for everybody that's kind of stuck around and made this possible, and has kept me very sane during lockdown. You all rock, so thank you. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching my second Q&A. As I said, there's more questions that I haven't answered, which I will get to in a different one, possibly. I might do another community post, we will see. Right, in my little system, we're onto a smaller / medium-sized group, and there are 3 names I keep seeing, and I really don't know which one to do first, so I'm going to kind of upload this video and then put a poll out. It's either going to be The Boys, G-Idol, or newest. I don't know which to do yet, but I see those names a lot, so I'm going to put a poll out very shortly. Hope you guys look forward to whichever one we decide to do, and thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you, and see you later.